The story is told of a woman who cried out to her pastor, who happened to be St. John Vianney, cried out to him, anxious that her husband might have gone to hell for jumping off a bridge to his death. St. John Vianney replied right away, I tell you, he is saved. Between the bridge and the water, he had time to make an act of contrition. I believe God treats sinful humanity with patience, kindness, mercy. At least that's my hope, poor sinner that I am, based on how little is needed to enjoy God's mercy. You heard the story of this woman and her pastor, St. John Vianney. Consider the story that Jesus tells about the prodigal son, who only had to turn back home for his father to forgive him, to embrace him, to put rings on his fingers and bells on his toes so that he would have music wherever he goes. Or consider the good thief, who seemingly only came to know Jesus at the last minute, and who only had to make a simple prayer, remember me, to be welcomed into paradise. Very little is needed to enjoy God's mercy, but we still have to make the move to return to God. Say the simple prayer, repent before we hit the water, even if it's at the last minute. So go to confession. What's more, if that's what we believe about how God treats sinners, and if we hope desperately for God's mercy for ourselves, then we have to treat other people the way we want to be treated. We have to be ready and willing to show the same mercy to others, to any other, every other, even an enemy, especially an enemy, in response to the slightest hint of sorry. In today's gospel, Jesus tells a story that ends with a question. What will the landowner do to those tenant farmers when he comes? Jesus wants his listeners to declare themselves regarding what they believe about God and how God treats sinners and how they themselves should treat other sinners. The chief priests and the elders answered, "Death to the tenants." No surprise there, for that's how they treated sinners. Remember the story of them hauling this woman caught in adultery, ready to stone her to death, until Jesus says to them, let the one among you who is without sin be the first to cast the stone. How would you answer Jesus' question? How would you declare yourself with regard to how God treats sinners and how, therefore, you should treat sinners? I know how I would answer the question.